Gav Hurren joins me this evening. It's a prelude to the final home game of the season, and we're going to talk about how this season's gone for you, Gav. And obviously, welcome along this evening for our little bit of a chat. How did the move come to Stratford then in last summer?
Well, obviously, last season I started off as assistant manager at Stourbridge, working with Mark Yates, which for me was a great experience to work with somebody with so much experience in management and in the Football League. So I learnt a lot from Mark, but then we stepped down from Stourbridge and the Bromsgrove Sporting job came about, and they were struggling. They were in a relegation battle. It was a big ask, and I was asked to come in and take over and try and steady the ship and keep them in the league. And it happened, but throughout that time, I've known Jed for many seasons. We've crossed paths, but never worked with each other. But we've always had that respect and spoke a lot about football. And when we played Stratford at Bromsgrove, we spoke and we just obviously caught up. And then when the season finished, and I stepped down from Bromsgrove because the job was done in that sense, I kept them up. Jed reached out to us, we spoke, and he just said there's an opportunity to come in to Stratford to work alongside Dean Holdsworth. He said, so we had a meeting, spoke about things, and to be honest, I know Jed, he's a footballing man, and for me, I was already sold. Stratford's a fantastic club, fantastic town, the fan base, everything that they're trying to do, and also with the development. I'm really a big believer in development of younger players and that pathway into the first team. And it was just there that what Jed and the board of directors and the football club are doing, it's an exciting project, but also it ticks a lot of the values I carry as a player, as a manager, and as a person. And I just wanted to be a part of it. Yep. And I was really grateful that the opportunity came about, and Jed offered me the role, really.
Yeah. So you came on board with Dino. Did you know much about Dino apart from his playing career?
No, I didn't know much about him, but obviously, again, the levels I played at, and he was at Newport and things like that, I had a lot of friends and we knew each other. So it was like, I didn't know too much. I've never worked with Dean, but then as soon as we met up in the summer, we had a cup of coffee and we spoke, and we had the vision of what the football club want, what Jed wants, what we both want, and it was just a really exciting project. So for myself, again, as a young manager, was great to work with people like Jed and Dean, and it was just a great opportunity for myself, and that was it really. And as soon as we agreed, it was working hard through June and July and August in trying to recruit the right squad to make it a successful season, really.
And July started off. I've never known a team have 10 home pre-season fixtures in a month. How did you find that with all your experience of playing football like you have?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but then the reasoning behind it was, again, we had a lot of new players. We had lads which at this level do go away, do go on holiday, pick up injuries, and because we're not full time, the only way you are going to get match fit is to play a number of games. There was a lot of games in the sense of we used it for looking at trialists. We looked at younger players, as you know. We brought a lot of the younger lads and gave them run-outs to be around the first team. And then it was guys that were away, give them an opportunity to get the minutes they needed to hit the ground running and start the season. So for me, you could say, yes, there was a lot, but it wasn't that the same players were playing week in, week out for 10 games. I thought it worked well. Obviously, we can always improve on stuff. There were tough games, but again, it was just an opportunity to go up against, like you say, there were some really good football teams that came and visited Stratford. And I felt that all the fans that were paying to come and watch the new squad being assembled, and then also some Football League clubs, I thought it was a great chance for everybody, really. And again, we'll look into next season and next pre-season, and we'll tweak little things, but we'll have the same model, really, in that sense, Stu.
Brilliant. Key season kicked off 6th of August. Bedford Town, they were newly promoted, coming into us, and I think it was Josh Walker that got us off with the first goal and gave us the lead in that game that eventually ended up 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of high expectations, and we're always in it to win it in that sense, and we felt that we recruited the right squad, and on paper we had some fantastic footballers, we had some young, we had some experience, and it was tough because it was a new team, it was a new squad with some lads that were here from the season before, and it was just going to take a little bit of time to gel. But again, playing first game of the season against Bedford was always going to be tough. They just come up, they were riding their wave, and it was going to be a big ask, but we got the draw. In the first, I think it was first 8 to 10 games, we had some good results. And it's just unfortunate that the season had panned out the way it has. It is disappointing. I know from the town, the fans, the football club, the players themselves, we all had an expectation that we wanted to obviously be at the other end of the table. But again, football is a funny old sport, and it's difficult at times. And when you're not getting the rub of the green and things aren't going quite your way, it's tough. But we're going to learn from everything we've done this season. And hopefully next year, with keeping the players we want to keep and recruiting new players, we'll go again, and that's all we can do, really.
Absolutely. Started off first 8 games, just lost the one in that St Ives, and you had reasons for losing that game because you lost Jack Storer within the first 20 minutes or so of that game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Look, we're always going to lose games of football. It's the way you lose them, isn't it, really? And credit to those lads on that day. They never stopped running. It was just a real fortunate. We went down to 10 men so early. But throughout the whole season, there's been a lot that has been good, but there's also been a lot that hasn't been. And we have to learn from that. I mean, for myself as a young manager, I was, I think, 35 the season before at Bromsgrove, and I'm now 36, 37. I'm a young manager who I'm going to make mistakes. Some players make mistakes, but clubs make, and it's just about learning from them, and it's not from not trying to do the right thing, because everybody's heart's in the right place and we're all professional, but sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to go. But you've got to stand on, you've got to be strong mentally, and you've got to stay positive and keep working harder than ever to try and put things right. And I think that's what's shown this season, that when things and the chips have been down, we've all pulled together, we've all worked with each other, and that's from the volunteers, the fans, the board, Jed working with myself and the players. It's just been a tough middle part of the season, Stu, but now we've hit a little bit of form. We can see it slightly gelling. We've brought in good players to help us strengthen where we were at, and it's just hopefully we can keep moving forward in this positive direction.
Yep. So middle of September, Dino, for whatever reason, left. That was just after the Banbury United FA Cup match, which we, a Worldie scored them the only goal of the game. You were thrown in the deep end. How did you feel then?
Again, you either sink or swim, and for myself, I've always been thrown in deep ends, and it's just you have to deal with it. It's what things get thrown at, but it wasn't. I wasn't on my own. I had an unbelievable chairman in Jed who helped. He supported. I had the players on side. I had, like you say, people around the club that were all working together. So you get thrown into it, but then also you got to take your chance. You've got to stand on. You've got to stand up and be counted. And that's just not myself. That was the players, and that was everybody associated with the football club.
Yep.
And we just keep moving forward. And look, I wasn't. I didn't feel I was thrown in the deep end. It was just one of those things that personal circumstances, people have to move on.
Yeah.
And that is it, really, Stu.
Okay. You got helped out then between then and December by I think John Hill and then Jimmy Fry.
And can you hear me, Stu?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, firstly it was John Hill, who was fantastic. He was the bridge between the academy. He knew all the younger players, because the players that we brought in from the academy up to the first team through pre-season, there was still, like I say, John knew them better. He knew their strengths and quality. So it was, for me, it was great to have John around. He's a great coach. He's really good with the younger players. And it was nice that, again, John came in and offered his services. But again, he went then back to FC Stratford, which again, we needed to bring somebody else in, which was Jimmy Fry. I know Jimmy was part of the football club. He knew players within the team. And he's a good coach. And it was just an opportunity to bring him in. It was to see how he would find it and settle in. And he was brilliant when he was here. It was just unfortunate again. It just didn't quite fit in that sense. And he had his commitments with Birmingham City, but again, it was just he moved on. And then it was an opportunity where myself and Jed sat down and we had to identify who I'd like to bring in to support us, who would buy into the football club and the values and the culture of what Jed and the board are building. And it was ideal that Keenan came in, somebody I've known for many years. He's a player that played with us, played under us, and he's done fantastic in the opportunities he's done with Pensford and Solihull. And I just thought it would really work well with myself, as we know each other, and we know each other's personalities and strengths and qualities. And Jed was like, bring him in. We had a chat, and for me, it's been a breath of fresh air. He's helped immensely in delivering on the field. And he's just been there to support me and allow me to manage as well. So at the minute it's going really well, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. So Keenan came in for the Tamworth game on Boxing Day, and unfortunately it's a historic game and day that we've got to honour, but tragedy hit the club, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's still so raw, and it's really sad, which we knew. And Cody was a footballer who I worked with a little bit at Bromsgrove, obviously with at Stratford, but he was just like we say, a genuine lovely lad. And there's lads in this team who were very close with him. He had many friends within the football community. He knew a lot of people. As you could see, the heartache it brought to everybody. And it hit the team and hit the club, but really hard. And it was just something again from myself, that I was very fortunate that I had support from Jed and the club again, because I'm a young manager, Stu, and it was again seeing all these boys who and myself were heartbroken in what had happened and how we're going to pick each other up and move forward. And it was really, really difficult. It still is difficult. And it's just a credit to these footballers, these lads in that dressing room who, again, take results and performances away from it all. They had to pick themselves up and play. And for me, I think it was a release for some of the guys to come in and try and forget of everything that was going on around them. Some it was really hard to come in and see Cody up on the water. So there's a lot of emotions, and for me, I had Jed in my corner. I bounced a lot off him in the sense of how we're going to deal with certain things with training and being together, and the sport we had for everyone was just amazing, and it just showed the character and everything about these boys, that they dusted themselves off in that sense. Obviously, we'll never ever forget Cody. They play for Cody. They're his closest friends, and his picture's still up in the dressing room. Where he sat, and it's sad, but we had to keep moving forward, and it just showed. I'm just immensely proud, to be honest with you. As I'm a man, but for me to be a young manager and being in an environment the way it has been, from young guys to all pull together and protect each other, I think I'm immensely proud to be a part of something like that.
Absolutely, and the results suffered accordingly because everybody was hit with the wave of emotion and sentiment of the way that it was. But you've gradually built things up with the help of Keenan and everybody else. You've brought quite experienced players into the club, and you've gone on for a run for the just losing 2 games of our last 12, which is absolutely exceptional and puts our own fate in our own hands, as it were, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that again, in football, there's always comings and goings, and sometimes certain players. It's happened to myself when I was a player. You have all this expectation. You do everything that you do everything you can to be the best player at that time at that football club, and it just doesn't quite click, or you just don't settle. And it's not out of anybody's fault. It's just sometimes it happens, Stu. Do you know? And we had quite a bit of that this year, and we had some exceptional players on paper, but collectively we just wasn't clicking. And there was players that obviously we knew had to move on, and they were a credit to themselves in how they conducted themselves in and around the football club. But sometimes it's just best that people move on, and to try and find a place where they settle a little bit better, and that was what happened. And then that allowed us to bring in, like you just said there, new faces, experience, youth as well. And fortunately for ourselves, it's clicked, and the lads and the environment has changed. It was very, very difficult. So for what we have been through to now, the environment's it's a great environment, and I just think it's a credit because of how hard we have had it, and that's on and off the field with everything that has happened. We have to enjoy this, and it just shows when you work hard and you keep working harder, your luck changes in that sense. And these boys have put it all in, and we work tirelessly on and off the field, and we just hope now we can finally just get it over the line. It's in our hands. We've got 2 games to go, and we have to try and do everything we possibly can to get the points to stay in this league.
Absolutely. Pleasure talking to you, Gav. Thank you very much for everything you've done this season, and long may it continue. And hopefully we'll get at the 3 points on Saturday against Colville, and then we can relax a little bit against Baseford and have a great evening on Saturday night.
And Stu, I'd just like to finally just leave and just thank all the fans. I mean, it's been a real, it's been a real, what's the word I'm looking for now? It's been amazing to see that even when the chips have been down, and it has been tough, and I'm a football fan myself, it doesn't go your way. These fans keep coming week in, week out, away, home, and it means so much to the team. It does, it really does, and at times it's kept us going in the sense of, with everything that's been going on, to see these fans turning out, cheering us on when it has been tough. It's just an amazing feeling, and we owe it to them. We do. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting. We'll keep being as professional as possible and representing Stratford Town in how the football club should be. And again, to the fan that comes in, and to the community, with everybody that keeps coming, it's all for them as well. So I just want to say thank you for this season, for my first season at Stratford. It's meant a lot to myself and the team that these fans have kept behind us, and hopefully we'll have a better season next year.
Cheers, Gav.
All right, thank you, Stu.